Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Cab, and today I'm here with a new setup and with new me. Actually, I'm not new one, I'm just old one, but I'm with a new setup here. And today I'm going to film about my 2020 reading goals and my TBR. And I know it's pretty much late that I'm talking about my reading goals and TBR. I should have done it very early, but no worries, I'm here. And so this year I just decided some of the parameters for my reading goals. And if talking about my reading plans, then I have set up my Goodread to read 75 books, and I would love to read hundreds if I could. So my Goodread reading plans are to read 75 books, and that would include some of the things that I've wanted to do in this year. That first thing is that I want to read classics, because I tried classics reading so much but I could not, so I just decided to read this year and will try to grab it, read it and finish those books. So the first is to read classics, and second is I have a TBR jar that I have filled with my unread books that I have not read it, and that's waiting on myself. So I will just pick it randomly and just try to read every month. And the third one is to read 6 books every month. I will try to read 6 months. If I could not, that's not a problem, because reading is just fun and it should not be like a tension for me. So I will just try to read 6 books, and if I could not, then it's okay. So let's talk about the reading TBR that I have set up for this year. And these are not the whole books, but I have just picked up some books, and for this I have selected 8 books, actually 9 books that I want to read this year for sure, and 5 of them are that I own and 4 that I don't own. So the very first book that I want to definitely finish this year is The 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak, and this is a YA romance, I guess. I was reading it last year and I did not finish it, and it doesn't mean that I was getting bored or DNF'd it. I did not DNF it. Actually, I was reading it in ebook format, and it was very hard to go through ebooks if you have a long book. So I just left it there and decided to read when I own it. So now I have this, and I will definitely finish this book. And this follows the story of Ella Robinson, who has a husband, children, and has a very nice house, but she has some emptiness, and then she just one day read about a Sufi poet Rumi and Shams of Tabriz, and she decided to meet him. She was influenced by the story and the poetic natures of Shams of Tabriz and Rumi, so she decided to meet him, and that's why it was very entertaining and I was just really loving it. But I could not finish it, but I am just going to finish it this year. And the next book that I want to read is All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr, and this is a historical fiction, and I'm into historical fictions the time when I read The Nightingale, and I'm just loving historical fictions. So I decided to pick this up for this year, and this follows a story of Mary Laurie, a girl who is blind from the age 6, and she lives with her family, her father actually, and then her father just tried to make everything easy for her, but they have to flee from Paris when Germany invaded Paris. And then there is another character that is Warner, who is just destined to work in coal mines, and then one day he just get attached to the radios, and he just work in radios, I guess. So this is the story of these 2 children actually, and then I just want to read this because I have heard a lot of people have read this book and I just feel locked behind, so I just wanted to read this once, so I just picked this up. And the next book that I have is Carve the Mark and The Fate Divides by Veronica Roth, and I wanted to read these books from a very long time and I did not get my hands on this, but now I have these books, and this is I guess fantasy fictions that talk about the power and people in the galaxies, that they have superpowers, or this is actually the fight between the spirits and the good and the bads. I actually don't know about this one, and that's why I don't want to mess up things, so I just would love to read this and then I will talk about this. and I'm really excited to read this because I have started reading the book, and then I unfinished it. And the next book is The Glass Sword by Victoria Aveyard, and this is the second book in the Red Queen series. And I read Red Queen, and I loved it because that was really great and I enjoyed it so much. So I want to just continue the series. So there is 5 books in the series, but I own only 2, so I will just read whatever I have. So this follows this girl Mare who just learn about her power, and she's a silver red blood actually, but she has the power of silver, and she just realized it, and she know that she is different from others. So the first book talk about all her powers that she just have, and she just recognized it. And in second book, I guess this is going to be a rebellious kind, because now she learn about her powers and she is going to use it for the society, for the people she have, the people that she want to save. And this is going to be really interesting because first book just ended at very good note, so it is going to continue, and I'm just sure that I'm definitely going to enjoy this. So this one is 2 in my TBR. And the next book that I want to read that I don't own is Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tommy Adeyemi, and this is the second book in the series of YA fantasy trilogy Legacy of Orisa, and the first book in Children of Blood and Bone. And I just freaking love the first book, and I'm just waiting for the second one, because in the first book that Jelly, the main character, who is just successful in bringing the magic back to her land, which was just forbidden and forced to just extend to for by the ruler of that country, and she just bring out all the magic for her people. And then in the second book it's just going to really hard to read because there was a lot of things were in the first book, and second book is just going to be amazing, I guess. So I'm really excited for the second book. And the next book that I want to read is Unravel the Dusk by Elizabeth Lim, and this is the second book in the series. What was the name of the series? The Blood of the Stars, I guess. And the first book was Spin the Dawn, and I just freaking love the first one, and that was my most favorite book of 2019. It was fantasy fiction that I really loved, and it was so great, and I'm just really excited for the second book, and I don't know what was in second book, and I don't want to spoil it, so I'm just waiting for it because it have not released in India yet, so I'm just desperately waiting for the second book. And the next book is Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and this is a thriller horror novel, and this follows this girl Jules Larson, who is offered a job to just sitter of this huge apartment, and then she realized that unexpected things are happening in the house, and later she find out that a lot of person gone missing who has just had previous job of this house sitter. And I just want to read more and more thriller this year, because last year I read only one thrillers, and that was really bad for me. So I'm just going to read more thrillers, and this was so much in hype last year, so I'm definitely going to check this out. The last book that I have in my TBR is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, and this is another thriller, and this follows this woman who just go to this apartment to look after it, and she was get paid for living in that, and she just work for the nanny for the children in this house, and then she was convicted for the murder of one of them children. And I just heard really good things about this book, and this is another very hype thriller in 2019. So just I want to read both of these books, and I hope that I will read it. So that's it from my end, guys, and just let me know your thoughts on some of these books. Have you read any of these? Should I continue with this TBR, or should I need to include some more books that you think are just best? And you can tell me about your reading plans this year in the comment below, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.